All right, guys, we're live. Hey, it's Rick Ginn, and we are live on Flip with Rick. And today we're talking about finding the best zip codes for you to get the best virtual wholesaling market. And it's kind of weird because I actually feel like I've cracked the code, and I feel like nobody talks about this. And one of the biggest questions I get from you guys is, what's the best area to start? And I am a huge advocate of breaking stuff down by zip codes, because sometimes a general city or a county is not enough to get exactly what you want. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Rick Ginn. I am the Rick and Flip with Rick. I've been wholesaling for 20 plus years. It's somewhat of an affliction. I'm one of the guys that actually truly enjoys this business. So you're going to see a lot of people come in and out of wholesaling like it's this quick fad. And I think I have passed that test. So here's what I want you to do. We have a comment section. Please introduce yourself. The people in this comments, they're just awesome. Like, what can I say? And these are great people that you can network, you can work together with. Make sure you vet everybody. I don't endorse anybody unless I say, hey, use this person, because unfortunately there are some people, there's gurus hidden all in these comments, and you can't trust everything that's told you. So always verify, as I tell you, but use the comment section. This is a great place if you want to ask a question about today's topic or anything general wholesaling, or Rick, I just want to ask you something about you. I'm fine with it. Also, for those of you who want to go a little bit deeper, you want to do a one-on-one, make sure you go over to our Facebook page, Wholesaling Houses for Real, 94,000 strong, the fastest growing, the #1 active wholesaling community there is, because if you go to any other, it's just full of spam and you're going to be coached to death. And we spend an enormous amount of energy filtering this so you guys can avoid as many scam artists as possible, because honestly, you guys report them, we delete them, and we're super excited that you guys get to help us out with it. So if you go over there, if you click on today's live stream, there will be a link. Now, here's the rules. You have to be a member, and you have to be subscribed to our YouTube channel. So make sure you do those. And if you miss it this time, make sure you do that, so the next time you come on live, it's available. Also, we have lives on Sunday night and Monday night for those of you guys that miss out during the weekday. If you're getting in line and you wait too long, just switch over to Sunday Money, because we're here to help you out with it. So what else we got? Any other announcements? Hey, listen, guys, if you missed the live stream yesterday, man, I just thought it was amazing, because it's a conversation that's never had in wholesaling. So many of the conversations, the pitches, guys, they're all geared around towards telling you a course. And what I love with what I do with my son, we just get into it and we tell you what's going on. We tell you what the issues with you, and we give you both sides of the story, which is what you need to truly make a decision. So without further ado, let's get it up. My ADHD is kicking in. If you've got ADHD, you're in the right place, man, because wholesaling is like the perfect. I'm somewhat biased. I love wholesaling. It is the best way to get started in real estate investing. And honestly, if you don't start with wholesaling in real estate investing, you're missing the core foundation of how the fundamentals of real estate investing work. I hang my reputation on that. And then from there, you can build the blocks and go as advanced as you want, up to multi-million-dollar commercial properties like I do. It took me a long time to get there, but honestly, it started with one simple flip. And then here 20 years later, I'm 3,000 houses pluses, and I actually love what I'm doing. So without further ado, guys, make sure you put in the comments there. And let's give you the intro. Let's get pumped up, man, because I like to have fun, man, because too many people are so dang boring talking about real estate investing, especially wholesaling. Let's switch it up. Let's go.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and get the guy go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up.
That's it. So I just love that video. And guys, listen, wholesaling is not hard. We as humans make it super complicated. And if you want to have fun in life, listen, you only get one ride in this life and you want to make it as beautiful as possible. So if you're here for the journey, you are sick and tired of being stuck in your current financial situation and you have been attracted to wholesaling, I think me and Zach are the best fit for you because here's what I'm going to tell you what we guarantee. Number one, if you're brand new to this, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. And there is a course, and don't get scared by a course. Me and Zach are the only people that 100% fully support free education for wholesaling. We go against the complete grain. And the idea is to get you not only your first deal, but get you up to your first $100,000. I don't think money should stand between you and your hard work effort. And so many gurus out there are telling you it's impossible. You guys prove it every day. I think we have over 5,000 testimonials. I've never asked for a testimonial. I never try to capture you guys. I just let you tell it how it is. The second thing is we believe the more authentic you are, the better the experience for everyone, because this is who I am. So if you see me out on the street or you see me somewhere, I don't do a lot of stages because honestly, I can't make revenue for the producer of that. And that's what they're looking for. Then I'm fine with that. And maybe one day that'll change because I'm not part of that club and I'm okay with it. But there's nothing more in pep rallies and you guys kind of know it. So authentic, we like to have fun. This is how it goes. So let's get into it. We are now just going to jump in. So we're going to do a little bit of teaching section. I promise you this is going to be much shorter than yesterday. If you guys are getting a chance, go check out yesterday's live stream. It was all talking about wholesaling bans and why you guys are being fooled. The word illegal in wholesaling is nothing but a fear grab. It's not accurate. And they do the same thing as the media and the news. They sensationalize it to scare you. And honestly, the reason people scare you is because they want to send you another direction. And I promise you, there's a door where you're going to have to pay a fee. And in the end, you are not going to be happy with the outcome of it. So understand your United States Constitution. And if you're a proud American and you understand how this country works, stop letting people try to fool you. Just because somebody writes a law or a statute doesn't mean it's accurate or correct. You actually need to read it, understand it, talk to a licensed real estate attorney, and understand your risks and what you're doing. You can't make wholesaling illegal. It would shut the entire world down because contracts is a constitutional right in the United States. States cannot interfere with your ability to enter into a contract. End of story. The loopholes are always about marketing and advertising, and you guys are smart. You guys are always going to be 2 steps ahead. Or you can just quit and run and go get your real estate license like everybody tells you to do. But if you're going to be a real wholesaler, decide what you want to do. If you want to talk to real estate agents all day, that is a section of wholesaling, but I'm just telling you, that's not where you start. It is the worst place to start, in my opinion, because you don't have the experience. You don't know how to speak the realtor's language. And I'd rather you go to off-market properties and just connect with motivated sellers. So that's my spiel. Check it out because I promise you the content yesterday, you're never going to hear on any other live stream because everyone just tells you it's illegal. It's illegal. It's illegal. Do this, do that. Understand it, read it, educate yourself. And why don't people just read the United States Constitution? You have simple liberties that are built in there that no state can step on. And we're letting states step on, but you guys have the power to do what you want with it. So let's jump into it. I'm seeing you guys' comments here. Let's see here. We're going to have some fun today, man. I want to talk to you guys and spend more time because it kind of went on a little bit long yesterday, but it was much, much needed. So let's see here. Where do I start? Okay, so we're talking about finding the best areas for your virtual markets. I've already told you that zip codes is the way to go. So what you have to understand first is what makes a good or bad area. Well, before I get into like the dynamics of how to pick your market, number one, a lot of common sense goes a long way in wholesaling. So you don't need everybody to tell you everything to do. And guys, here's what I want you to understand. I've tried every type of property known to mankind. Multi-million-dollar mansions, $10 million commercial properties, down to $3,000 crack houses. I've experienced them all. They all have their ups and downs. And what you need to do if you're starting out is find that sweet spot, the spot that you're going to have the most opportunity. And what you have to understand is what makes an area good, what makes an area bad. We're specifically talking about wholesaling. Okay, guys, you are not living in these properties. So some of you have set your standards so high and you're looking at like $500,000 plus houses. That's not where you start in wholesaling. Actually, it's quite the opposite. So let's get into it. So the first thing you have to understand, the sweet spot. And guys, this is common sense. Actually, you don't even need me and Zach to tell you this, is you look for areas with low crime and low starting price entry points. So what you have to do is basically find it. So your next question is, Rick, well, how do I find these? So since all of this is local information, you're going to have to get in that market locally. Now, the beauty about this is all statistical information that can easily be had with an internet search or a simple phone call and possibly an email. That's it. Period. So if you're just starting out and you haven't picked out your market, this is the perfect live stream for you. So yes, it's live. So here's what you do. The first thing is the crime stats. You can get dated information on the internet and usually from your local sheriff's office or however your police departments run, if it's a city department. And worst case scenario, you can call them and ask them for statistical crime. Now, they typically do it per population per 1,000, and you can see the number of incidents and you can make decisions. There's very sophisticated softwares out there that you can work with. You don't need to pay for any of those. Just go directly to the source, which is going to be your sheriff's office or your police department. The number two is, Rick, how do I get the average price points? And honestly, the easiest free tool is go into Zillow and just put in Zillow, put in your area, and then put an average median price next to it and find the link to it, and it will tell you. Or you can do a statistical Google search. Just be careful because a lot of them are paid ads and they'll steer you in the wrong place. So once you have that average price point and you have the statistical crime area, now you can compare markets. And that's why I tell you to do. Go find 4 or 5 markets that are interesting to you and then run a simple Excel spreadsheet and get the incidents per 1,000 and get the average medium home price. And from that information alone, that's going to give you a great compass, GPS, whatever you want to call it, to find what we call the sweet spot areas. And I'm here to tell you in wholesaling, a lot of you go, well, I'm just going to go to the cheapest prices possible. I'm here to tell you I did that, and you're not going to like it. It's really, really hard. So the reality is to make a $2,000 or $3,000 assignment on like a high crime area, high poverty area, because there's constant turnover, you're going to work 10 times harder and you're going to stress yourself out. Now, if you're even going to do it locally, I'm here to tell you, you could actually potentially put your life at risk. And that's the last thing I want to do with anybody on this live stream. So here's a rule I always have. If you're going to do this locally, not virtually, locally, if you would be scared to drive that neighborhood at night, or you were scared to go and collect that rent on an average day, especially during the day, don't do it. Because eventually you're going to have to get in your car and go deal with an issue on that property, either meet a cash buyer or meet with the seller. And if you are uncomfortable going there at like 1 o'clock, I don't want you even looking at these types of areas. So I skipped that and I had some issues. I've had multiple incidents where I've had my back window broken. I've had dogs chase me. I've been like stuck with things that freaked me out, and like I had to get medical assistance. So I don't want that for you guys. I already tried it. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. It sucks. And you didn't get in this business to lower like all your standards. So every now and then an opportunity comes up. If you can move it fast, do it. But if you target these types of neighborhoods, they're very, very challenging because the drama's through the roof. And for the couple $1,000s you'll make, I just don't think the risk is worth it. So what we want to do is really find the sweet spots. So let me give you some generalities on what we call the sweet spot, because I'm going to go through this real quick. And if you're on the live, I'm going to get to you. So in the stream, I see you guys, I promise. So how do we find great virtual markets? I call them like the Goldilocks zone. So here's the rules: 50K population, 400K or below average median price. That is kind of your general rule. Now, there's going to be exceptions depending on what market on. So like use this as a guideline, not a rule. So some of you guys are in markets where 400 is a little bit challenging. Like in Florida, it's all like I can't even meet this number. Like I'm already outside of it, and my populations are significantly higher. But I will tell you, I started well below these. And the one thing I find that people I talk to over and over that start out wholesaling with success, they all have these two things in line: at least a 50K population and 400K or lower price point. Why? Because that's the sweet spot, guys. You have to think about this. You want the most demand for your product as possible so you can find the most cash buyers. Now, when a cash buyer buys your property, what is their goal or intention? They're either going to rent it out or they're going to do a fix and flip and tell it typically to a first-time home buyer because they love stuff that's ready and done. They want it all laid out, just get their mortgage and move on. Why not? And that is where you're going to find. So always focus on where the first-time home buyer areas they're looking for. So I'm going to give you a couple ideas here, and you guys tell me. So I put them on the screen here. These are just ideas for you, but like these types of markets work. Fort Wayne, Indiana, Dayton, Ohio, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Detroit, Michigan, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Detroit, I know that's a little bit like, Rick, Detroit, there's pockets in Detroit. As I said, if you're there and you understand the market, you can figure it out. Detroit would only be the one that you're going to have to dive a little bit deeper in. These are for example purposes. Okay. I'm always looking for the next wave of people because people move around in this country based on it. Listen, Florida's got really attractive. It's getting so pricey. They're going to stop coming to Florida because they can't afford it. So where do they go next? They go to Birmingham, Alabama. They go to Fayetteville, North Carolina. Like, you guys can do the research on this and find it, especially if you're doing virtual markets. So the really rule of thumb to truly understand what the sweet spot in your markets, ask your cash buyers. They'll tell you why, because they're catering to the first-time home buyer, to the house that's going to get the most eyeballs and the most attention. End of story, guys. If you understand this, it's really easy to figure out the best virtual market for you to pick. End of story. Don't go out and start in markets. Just if you grew up in San Diego, San Francisco, I love it. It's an incredible area, but the cat's out of the bag, man. That like you won't even get near the 400 grand price range. And that's been the birth of virtual wholesaling because we've been squeezed out of most of the local markets. And then let's face it, Wall Street hedge funds, they're chasing these pockets just like you and me. So it's more important now for you to get out and ahead, especially when you're doing virtual marketing. Also, so ask your cash buyers, just ask them and get intel. It's so important in today's market to understand what your cash buyers, what they're looking for, because in the end, they are your customers. So many years you guys were taught to teach cash buyers like trash, and now we're telling you they're the golden ticket to truly understand your wholesaling business and make it profitable. Go after where the rentals are at. Landlords like to invest in rental communities because they fit. Period. End of story. I've owned properties where the whole block are like homeowners and I had the one rental. Dude, there wasn't a week that didn't go by they didn't report my renters for something. And they kept driving my renters out and out. And like I eventually just gave up. So you have to understand, if you have an entire rental neighborhood, you watch for trends to see if they switch over to first-time home buyers, and then you can make that switch when it happens. But if you have an entire like first-time home buyer community and a renter moves in, it can be problematic for you. And like I pay attention to that stuff, and you guys have to pay attention to neighborhoods. You should be able to identify a neighborhood if it's predominantly rental or it's predominantly homeowner occupied. And by the way, you can look up county stats and you can figure that out very, very easily. So, and then the good old tried trick, which is really, in my opinion, the best way other than just asking your cash buyers, just reverse engineer your competition. So if you guys have never heard of this, the one thing I try to teach anybody that works with me and Zach is you're going to have to lose your ego in wholesaling, because ego is probably the thing that will take you out the most in wholesaling. You guys have seen it. Wholesalers get really big. I'm making a ton of money. And the problem is their ego gets inflated because they were making 50 grand a year. And now they're making 300 grand a year wholesaling, and they think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's still the exact same person. They've just figured things out, and I give accolades to them, but you can't let your ego get big. And the problem with your ego is completely driven by your subconscious mind for you to always be right at any cost possible. And ego always tries to win. Lose your ego, and you don't have to win a conversation. You don't have to win arguments. You actually learn to walk away from them. So here's a little trick. Most wholesalers' egos, dude, they're huge. I've been in this business a long time. It's terrible out there. I had a big ego at once. I had to learn to let it go because it was killing my business. Once you let your ego go and you humble yourself, you can actually receive information, you can get help, and you can work with other people. It doesn't mean you have to agree with what they say, but if you've ever met that person that always has to be right, they will drive you freaking nuts. And there's no other word about it. So guys, the biggest thing, if you're just starting out wholesaling, you haven't even done a deal, check your ego. Now, most of you guys start out your wholesaling, your ego's already in check because you're trying to get help. But once you get success, don't let it go to your head because you've barely scraped the iceberg. I'm still on a 20-year journey. I make more money every year. And guys, I tripled my salary in the first year. Got a big ego, got my butt handed to me. And honestly, ever since then, I've just kind of I've learned that ego doesn't serve you at all. Now, here's how you take advantage of other people's ego. So if 8 out of 10 wholesalers have a huge ego, and they do, it's just the truth, reverse engineer them. They love to brag. They constantly post on social media about their latest, greatest deal. Why? Well, it's twofold. Number one, it makes them feel really big. Like, look at me. Number two, they're probably going to sell you something. It's just the truth. That's the only reason they post it. So it's just the truth. And a lot of you, well, people got to show their deals. It's the problem is they never show you the whole story. You don't get to buy. You typically only get to sell. I see people posting stuff in their personal name. I'm like, if you're running a wholesaling business, why would you buy something in your personal name? Most likely it's your personal house and you're flipping it and you're trying to show this big giant profit. That's not wholesaling. And I'm proud of people that do that. I think that's awesome, but that's not wholesaling. That's buying a property and holding on to X amount of years and then doing the appreciation game. And then they don't share with what they put in rehab into it. So I have a problem when people just keep showing stuff. But here's the deal. When people do that, take advantage of it. Get on their cash buyers list, find the markets they're having success, and you can easily reverse engineer their where they're having success in the zip codes. This is how I pick my virtual. This is my number one technique for picking out virtual markets. Oh, really? You're killing it over there. Wow. And so what we do is I get on their cash buyers list. I see 4 houses they're marketing. I verify the zip codes, and then I look for trends, and then I hunt all over the internet. And then I'll take a couple weeks. I'll gather the information, and guess what? You just saved me $5,000 in trying to figure out this market. Thank you. And I don't look at anybody as competition. I just look at it as free information. So guys, reverse engineering, it's amazing. Until people lose their egos, you can do this forever. I could give you an example and go and do it right now. I don't have to. It's so easy. I saw 19 posts today. I got 5 messages from people's cash buyers list. It's just too dang easy. So of my 4 virtual markets, I've got them all from reverse engineering. Then I switch over to cash buyer intel. So I'm doing these kind of like reverse order, but it's good. The last one is just ask your title company. Listen, title companies have more intel than you could ever imagine. Not only can they help you with problems with probates and liens and code violations and difficult sellers and crazy cash buyers, they know the traffic coming in and out of there, and they will tell you, hey, Rick, this guy is a real player. He just bought 7 houses this week doing this. He only works with real estate agents. I think it would be incredible if you could connect with him. Dynamite. Hey, let me buy lunch while come in and talk. I just saved 6 months worth of work just doing that right there. And if you guys understand that, these last 2, the title company and reverse engineering, hands down, is probably the best way to figure out what zip codes are truly going to kill it. Not only for your local market, but especially for virtual wholesaling. So guys, that's it. I told you I was going to make it short today. I want to jump on and help everybody out. I promise you, if you're on the one-on-ones right now. If anybody gets on the next 2 minutes, I will guarantee I will finish it, even if I have to do you off air. So I try to be fair, and that's what I do. So let me catch up on the comments here, and let's see who we can help out here. So let me see here. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. I missed it. Where is it? So part of us is just really just getting you guys to open your eyes, because it's crazy, man. Like, honestly, I feel like there's other peoples in this world trying to open your eyes. I'm just trying to do it in the wholesaling community. I really, for the longest time, all we've had is pitchmen in this business. Pitch, 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 pitch. And I think you guys are kind of tired of it. It's exhausting. Here's the problem is it's hard to decide who's for real and who's full of it. And honestly, if you have no experience, you're never going to know. So you have to find a channel like me and Zach to go, listen, here's what I do. Work with me or not, I don't care. I'm not going to charge you a coaching fee. I'm just going to teach you a skill set. And if some of you take action and you want to work with me, let's go for it. And that's the way I love to work. Because why wouldn't every guru just pair up with you? And they'll tell you, well, if you don't do what I tell you to do, it's not my fault. Well, why should there be a $5,000 or $10,000 fee for that? I'm talking about wholesaling, guys. Once you make some money and you put $100,000 in your bank account, do whatever you want. But like without that education, you're just going to spend money foolishly. So check out yesterday's live. It was, I thought it was a lot of fun. And so before I get started, just to let you know, I try to keep this real. And like sometimes all we do is talk about wholesaling is, I've been doing this like 20 plus years, and I still have the same enthusiasm when I started. And I still have some of the same issues you guys have, believe it or not. And most gurus aren't going to tell you that truth. I love wholesaling because I can get in and out, and then I cherry pick properties I want to keep. I want to wholesale, and then I'm very intensely active in buying commercial properties. And you have to be very, very quiet about it because there's a lot of competition for it. And I love doing that. I'm much more conservative in nature. I believe in not overcommitting. I believe in buying properties at right and doing responsible financing to make sure the deal works out for all parties involved. So I fund a lot of deals with my own cash, and I don't care. It's not a race on how many properties you own or buy. The true pursuit of wholesaling is to make you free and make choices you want to make and have money to make those decisions and choices you want to make. So let me give an example of what like my last 24 hours entailed. So I have this incredible ability. So I have adult children. So this is for you older people, but you younger people, I want you to understand this too, because you can do stuff to change the trajectory of your family and your parents' life. So my daughter does the medical thing, and she's got like one more year of basically medical schooling, and she's very smart, and I don't understand all that, but hopefully she'll take care of me when I'm old. My son will take care of me financially. But so she's actually out traveling, doing something medical, I think she's up in Gainesville. But either way, I want you to understand. So like last night, you know what I did with my son? This is crazy. So we live very close to each other, and then we share studio space in the office. So you young people are like not even like we went to an ABBA concert with my wife, and it was just fun. And like ABBA's like an old school group. Like if you like some of the 70s music, we just enjoy stuff like that, man. But the thing is, it's not so much about the concert. It's just, we just love hanging out with each other. And honestly, without wholesaling, I wouldn't have, like, so many times when you guys get to 18, 19, you kind of leave your parents and you go off and do your own thing. I'm the complete opposite, dude. I'm all in with my family. I love my family. It's so much fun. And like today, my son came over, picked me out. We work out together. And then we just talk about wholesaling. We talk about how we can help you guys out on lives. We talk about future deals, projects we want to take down. And honestly, I am so blessed because without wholesaling, none of this would be available to me. So I have grown children that want to hang out with me, that love me. And then I actually share a business with my son. And honestly, he's got the energy and the youth to take it all the way to the end. And I'm just going to have fun because I'm going to do this as long as I'm having fun. And I want you guys to understand that. I will tell you, I sucked it up the first 2 years. It was brutal. It was hard. But the payoff was incredible. And so I'm reaping the rewards of it now. I'm having so much fun with it. And that's what I love about this business. So if that sounds exciting to you, do stuff like that, it's a lot of fun. And honestly, without a wholesaling, I don't know where I would be today. I was labeled an ADHD kid. I was never going to get a good job. They were right. And I found wholesaling. I sucked it up. And I guys, if you can get through the first 2 years, here's the hint, guys. Everybody goes through a roller coaster ride. Nobody just hits it out of the park and just runs and makes millions of dollars off the bat. Here's the problem is you all are told that's how it works. It's all a lie. The lie is so you will pay a fee to make their lives better, to make them look like rock stars. So if I don't collect your money and I don't trade my time for it, that's the best way I can do it for you. So we have some opportunities that are going to be coming up this year. I'm never going to ask you for money. I will ask you if you want to work on a deal and we want to do something together. Maybe we can raise money to help somebody out or do a charity is worthy of everyone's cause. I'm all about helping people. I don't need coaching money. I do extremely well in wholesaling. And that's the difference is most coaches will tell you, hey, I'm a rock star, I'm a wholesaler, and they do it. Some of them, very few. The reality is most of their income derives from coaching revenue. And usually it's between 75 to 90%. And they're showing you how to do it and they're not actually doing it. It just drives me nuts. So you guys got to make a decision. Make sure you ask questions. If you get caught on what they call a discovery call, ask hard questions or you're going to be severely disappointed. Ask how many students they have. Ask them what the refund policy is and ask them how long the program lasts for. And if you don't ask those questions, they're just going to mull over you. And for God's sakes, if somebody tells you to sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, run. It means they're hiding something very bad from you. It means they have so many complaints that if you talk negatively about their program, they have the right to sue you. Nuts. Okay, so that's enough of it. Guys, listen, if you could do the journey in wholesaling and get through it, it's going to lead to all sorts of doors, creative financing, short sale flips. You can do, I don't believe in like fix and flips if you want to do that, but that's a whole different type of business. You can be a landlord. You can run commercial properties. It's so much fun. And guys, I learn every day. And if you don't learn every day, there's no point in being on the earth, in my opinion. You got to learn every day. God put us on this earth so we can grow and evolve till the day we leave this earth. So that's my rant for the day. That's it. So Tristan, what's going on?
Hey, Rick. Good afternoon. How you doing, man?
I'm fantastic, man. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since I talked to you.
Yeah, I know. I saw your name pop up there. I go, I'm just gonna throw him in there first, man. What's going on?
Well, I just want to go over a couple things.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to go full time doing this, and I'm really excited.
When's the last time we spoke?
Oh man, it was when I got my first deal done. I think when I was working out. I think when I was underwriting it back in December. So
yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
What's your background, by the way?
I'm 21 years old. I went to college to work on cars, and I'm not gonna lie, it sucked.
So let me get. You went to college to work on cars, and like what capacity?
Collision.
Okay, so like not physically put them together, but just like learn the business of body shop stuff like that, or
no. I would take them apart all the way. Thousands of bolts and parts and put it all back together. It's like a giant Lego set. It was actually kind of fun, but I don't
realize. Is that more of like a trade school thing, or is that like in colleges now?
Yeah. It was like Lincoln Tech.
And by the way, guys, I'm here to tell you, I think trade schools, I think they're the way to go. Like if truly you want a job.
Oh yeah.
Check this out. Okay. I live on the East Coast, like right on the water, and like we have trains that go through us. That's just how the East Coast is in Florida. I have friends with like they went to trade school for just over a year. Okay. And it was like 10, 12 grand, whatever. They're walking out of there making 130K being they call them like railroad engineers, technicians, and then they work up to 250,000. Full benefits, retirement packages. And they love it, and they're all like wholesalers too. So I'm just telling you, like, let me tell you, unless you want to be a lawyer, you want to be in the medical field, or you want to be an engineer, I'm not sure why people go to college anymore, because
Right.
for business, you're literally, in my opinion, unless you're going like the school of warden, you're wasting your time. I wasted all my time. I didn't learn a damn thing in college. Sorry. I learned something, but I'm not going to tell you about it on here because I'm like, it was ridiculous. I joined a frat. That was because I wanted to fit in. I was a different person back then. And then I learned how to drink alcohol. That was terrible for me. And it set me in a trajectory, and then I just learned to conform the people to work for them, and it never worked out. So guys, trade schools, I'm telling you, nobody talks about them, but if you invested 10 grand and you could make 120 grand within a year, that's a great ROI. But people will spend 150, 200 grand on college and then they go live at home with their parents. It makes no sense anymore. When is the madness going to stop with people? I didn't really have a choice. I got kind of thrown into it, and I took 6 years to get through college. I told you I wasn't bright.
Right.
So
Yeah, and coming out, I wasn't hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt either. That was a cool
that's
part.
it. So it's dude, 21 and you're in this business full time. I mean, dude, that's amazing. I don't have anything else to say because I think that's phenomenal. I didn't figure it out till I was 33. So I took really from 18 to 33. I could write a book on what not to do. And most of those people in the stream could do the exact same thing. I'm trying to relate to you guys because I am you. I did exactly the thing. So you are so far ahead of the curve. So what can we help you out with? What are we talking about?
Yeah, so I just had a couple things. Of course, transferring over to full time. I got a plan in place that I kind of want to go over, and I got a couple other things too. But one, just regarding to the video, when going virtual, is it the smartest idea to, like I use batch dialer. Is it smartest idea to purchase numbers from that area code so people feel more comfortable answering it?
I believe so, but you have to be careful not to let it consume you.
Right.
Um, I will tell you, mainstream today, area codes aren't as big of a deal because, like in my area in Florida, the population is growing so fast. We keep getting new area codes like overnight.
Right.
So in the old days, there was only three area codes in Florida, and it was like if you didn't have a number in that area code, you just like, well, what are they calling me for? Now, probably 60% of my calls have a different like area code, and honestly, people's ability to port their number when they move from New York or California, like you're just used to it. Everybody knows it, and they take it with them. So it's not as big of a deal. If you have the chance, if you have a predominant market where you can pick that area code and do it, I would pick it. But sometimes, like we do so many different campaigns with the SMS and stuff, like it gets a little overwhelming. And
Yeah.
sometimes we're like, just go with the numbers out there. I'm not like, we're not going to buy 10 more numbers. So I have over 30 numbers, guys. And that's just, I mean, it's to me, it's crazy. Like I see the bills that come in. So my word to you is don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
And then like look at your feedback on it. And if it becomes a problem, back when I started, it was a huge difference. It's not nearly as much anymore because, and especially if you're in an area where it borderlines like three like markets with like two different area codes, it's not as
Mhm.
big of a deal. So for instance, we have a market like right on the edge and there's two area codes. They don't care.
Okay.
They because that's half the calls. Now, if you're in an area where it's predominantly just one, then I would cater to it. Does that
Yeah.
simplify it for you?
Yeah, like, cause I'm in Colorado and we do have higher prices, but obviously I've had success here so far. But
Yeah.
since I'm full time, I was like, might as well go 50-50 somewhere else. Um,
Yeah, but don't
just
get like 19 phone numbers like I did,
yeah,
like
yeah,
because it gets like it becomes a logistical like nightmare.
yeah. Cause I
I'm
have
talking about when you're running it for yourself, guys. Okay, I'm not going to go on that tangent because I'll do it. So, but just try to do enough where you don't drive yourself nuts. And
yeah,
sometimes we're guilty of over tracking, like some of our campaigns. And if you can simplify it and keep stuff to 2 to 3 numbers, it's so much easier.
right,
But like me, I like to know where's like stuff's going out and coming in so I can track it. But like we had a problem once, like we got crazy and we were spending too much time trying to sort and pay people that we simplified our process. But um,
yeah,
keep it as simple as possible. And if you have an area that borders like multiple area codes, it's not a big deal. It's the problem is when you get someone from like Seattle, Washington calling Miami, they're like 904. I've never heard of that. Where if they hear like 561 or something like that, they're like, okay,
yeah.
they're just up the street. So
Well, cause I'm in Colorado with the 303, and I'm looking at North Carolina. So maybe I'll just do a test. I'll buy like maybe 4 numbers and just see what
Yeah,
the
I just
response rate is
so,
to each
you know what?
one. So
As time goes on, it'll be less and less of an issue.
yeah, yeah, for
The
sure.
old days, I tried the 800 number, and that was a disaster. So you
Yeah, no
think
one
an
answers
800 number,
that.
I go, it's going to solve all my problems. Well, I paid 35 grand for the number, and that's back when 35 grand was worth a lot of money. It'd be worth about 100 today, and it was probably one of the worst. It was not a good marketing decision, and I wound up selling them the number for like 22,000 because it became nobody responds to an 800 number anymore. Everybody knows what's going on. So, but logistically, it sounded perfect, right?
Right, right.
So, okay, what else
Um,
you got?
yeah, so in a previous video too, I heard you had some experience with the probate in Colorado. I've been dipping my toes in that more because it is kind of a process receiving them, and I got more time to go to them. So I kind of want to know what your experience was, if you don't mind me asking.
That was a while ago. For full
Okay,
disclosure, and
sure.
over 3,000 deals. Try to memorize every one of them. I just know there's some particulars in Colorado that you got to understand. So the first attack whenever you do with a probate is number one, understand your local probate, your state process. Because if you don't
Hmm.
understand it, you have zero shot. Because you have to educate your sellers on, like, when they call you, they go, well, I was told, because they're all told by a lawyer, here's how it goes. Now, you guys know I go, when somebody tells you how something goes and you don't question it, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be steered towards the person who gave the information. Okay. A lawyer wants control. They don't want any type of interference, and they want to milk the fees as long as possible. So most information, I'm sorry if you're a lawyer on here, I'm just being truthful. They're going to set it up where they're going to protect their client at all costs. And anybody that has to go through that shield has to go through the lawyer. It's ridiculous. They have nothing to do with the private sale of a property. So I don't remember the particulars. I just remember I had to involve a real estate lawyer, and I had to get one of my employees that was being driven nuts. We had a difficult time closing it. For that reason, I say, listen, in Colorado, you got to know like your stuff, because I had a personal experience there. We got it done, but like you guys have a little bit different techniques and rules, and you have to abide by them. I don't remember it exactly. I just remember it was difficult. Now, it doesn't mean every probate deals in Colorado is difficult, because I've only done one, for full disclosure. So you can't make a rule off one deal that was difficult. So my advice to you is read the state statute for probates, go visit your probate court, and ask them challenging questions and walk them through it. And eventually you talk to your title company, and then need be meet with a probate lawyer or a real estate lawyer. That's the best way to solve it. I just don't want to give you bad
Yeah.
information because I don't remember it. I
No,
just
no,
know it
no.
was
It's good. It's
more
good.
than what I normally have to deal with. And so what's your experience with probates in Colorado?
So I think back in uh November, I had to go. I jumped through so many hoops, and for me, it's been a pain in the butt, and for other wholesalers I've talked to in the area, it's pain too.
Yeah.
But you have to go to a state level to get county cases, and then
Yeah.
that's where it stumped me, because I went to case lookup and nothing happened. But I got in contact with a friend of mine, and his girlfriend is a paralegal in the probate, uh, I guess, area of the county I'm in, and I learned a bunch. And just anyone that's watching from Colorado, it's from what she told me, and she's helping me with stuff moving forward with it. But the longest part of probate is just who's arguing over the PR, who's the executor, and that's the longest part. Other than that, I heard
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty
And by the
smooth,
way,
you know.
that's synonymous across the country. Like
Hmm.
there's nothing, when they're arguing over the PR, like,
Yeah, it's a
remember,
nightmare.
you have no stake. You have no stake in the family battle. Like, you
Yeah.
can't. Like, I always tell you, I just want to buy it. And when you
Hmm.
get caught in the drama, check this out. I've done a lot of probates in my local market. I did one. This is 4 or 5 years back now, and it took them 2 years to come to a decision. But the bottom line is, there's a family of 9, and they couldn't agree on anything. The house was falling apart. The house is vacant. So they all met at the house and make a decision. I thought, like, okay, I'm not a big fan of meeting with 8, 9 people because it's overwhelming. And the odds are in probate, if you have more than 4 parties, you
Hmm.
will have one difficult one. Period. Like, that's statistic. That's just human nature. It has nothing to do with probates or real estate. So check this out. There was six brothers and three sisters. And the brothers got so heated, they got a physical altercation in the front yard. And sister's like, see what we're dealing with? I go, listen, I tell you what, you call me when you guys work this out. Like, I'm
You're
only
like,
the
whoa,
buyer.
whoa.
And they go, Rick, can you help us? I go, I can't. Like, what am I going to like fight? I'm not going to fight people for a probate. Anyways, I let it go. I did some light follow up. Full disclosure, I forgot about it. They called me 2.5 years later, and I made $98,000 on the
Yeah.
deal. But like, what I'm teaching you is don't ever get into the weeds, because if you pick sides on a family,
Okay.
you're going to get destroyed. Now, part of my loyalty is whoever contacts me on the probate, I try to help them out the most. I have had incidents where I was very uncomfortable with the stories being told to me, but I had to have people like my wife and stuff walk me off the ledge. She goes, your job's just to get the property sold. You do not pick sides, and you don't judge people.
Right.
I've seen heinous crimes. I've heard horror stories. And it gets emotional because there's something weird when people die in a family. Some of the ugliest stuff will come out at the end because the person who passed away is not there to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so people dump baggage. So you have to carefully understand you are just there to buy the asset.
Right.
That's it. And like so many times I had to peel myself away from it. And when they started to get in the arguments, go, listen, when you guys settle it, give me a call. And I tried to stick my nose in it a few times, and it just, you will guarantee you will never get a deal with it because you're going to piss off one of the family members. And they're like, I'm not selling that Rick guy because he sided with you. So
Yeah.
that's the rules with probates. And
it's so like local because I'm calling around because I'm talking to title companies in North Carolina too. And they're like, our process takes like 3 months. I'm like, the average one here from the paralegal I was talking about is like it taking a week as long as everyone's in agreement. So
guys, I've done a probate in less than 2 weeks.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
a lawyer will tell you it's impossible.
Exactly.
So just like I tell you in the wholesaling community, when people tell you something's banned or something's outlawed or it's illegal, do your own research. This is why we have such a problem with our media. Are we this stupid? We just accept everything someone tells us?
Don't get me going into that, man.
Yeah. So guys, when someone's pitching you a course and it sounds too good to be true, start asking questions. And if they like, you can't ask that question or they delete. I can't tell you how many live events I've gone to, guys, in the last 10 years where I got kicked out. Why? Because I asked questions. Because that's what you do in America. You ask questions. Because if I can't hear both sides of the story, why the hell am I going to believe what you're telling me?
Exactly.
And that's the problem when it comes to it. We have to stop just assuming everything somebody says. And I had someone the other day who's like, guys, I get this all the time. I get so many DMs from you. And honestly, I try to help out as many people as I can, but you know what my number one DM is? Why did you not let my post go through? What did I do? And I tell them, I copy and paste. Did you read the rules? And then occasionally someone gets brave enough to come on the live and go, you blocked my post. I go,
no, I've heard him.
I pull it up and I show, I go, and then they all, like the sneakiest ones now is they're all DMing you behind me and Zach's back and trying to get you to send them $200 for like a course. And we just get rid of them. Like, you guys report it. You're amazing. And then they spend 2 weeks trying to plead their case. I go, that's it. It's a one and done shot here. I promise you, if I block one of your posts or I block you coming on here, you violated one of the rules. I don't let gurus on here. Why? Because it's a conflict of interest. And you can go on the Guru's channel and do whatever you want. But like, I make everything free here. So why am I going to give a guru an attention to sell a course? Number two, if you're going to write a post, go, hey, where are my buyers at? You are not helping our community out. You're just spamming it. And I'm going to give you one shot on that one. If you do it again, you're over. And then if you're going to talk about digital currency and all that other crap, like, you guys, here's the other real problem. Me and Zach have never talked about that stuff. It's not that I don't believe in it. I'm not an expert in it. So I've always talked about real estate. So now you got all these scammers out there. I think that we have over 180 fake accounts out there. There's nothing I can do about it. It's ridiculous. And they're all asking you to pay them in crypto because that's the only way they can get it. And I tell every one of you, somebody asks you for any type of currency, money, digital, it's not from me and Zach. Here's the problem with every other guru. All they did is they spent hours talking about digital currencies, and they did their people a disservice because now they're getting DMs and like, well, I heard you play up digital currency, and so now you need to pay me in it, and it's confusing as heck. And so our policy is always the same. If somebody DMs you asking for any type of monetary compensation, it is not from me and Zach.
Yeah.
I guarantee you 100%. And there's still people sending money. So honestly, I'm not going to say that, but if you get blocked, I promise you're not as slick as you think you are. Because I know what you're doing, because I'm getting all these DMs and you're like, well, what am I doing? It's like, you're trying to be like every other guru out there, and we have to put a stop to it at some point. So that's my rant. What else you got?
Yeah, so I kind of want to go. I made a plan, and I kind of wanted to run it by you, just based off.
Let's go quick. I want to help some other people out here too, and be fair. So
sure. So I got right now, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I got like 5 counties in mind, but I honestly want to narrow it down to like 2 or 3. Now, is that something, being full time, that you can tackle?
I think three is the optimal.
Okay.
Master 3 and then decide and expand from there. 5 sucks. I'm just going to be honest with you.
I'm sure. I think I've heard you say that.
I'd rather you go deeper than wider.
Yeah. But right now the plan is get about 600 driving for dollars a week, which is about 100 a day, which is easy for me. Mm-hmm. 200 reverse driving for dollars, just based on government lists, people that don't answer my calls, stuff like that. And for list of the government, I got eviction, code violation, arrest records, fire damage, and tax delinquents and IRS tax liens. So, and then a couple hours a day, just focus on like 4 rents, finding some cash buyers and Facebook, and try to cold call like around 3,000 numbers a week, just because it's a dialer and there's lots of redials that go through. So that's kind of my goal.
That's a full plate. So let me ask you this, Tristan. How many deals have you done to date?
1.
Okay. So your plate's full. Execute that plan, because the real money is always in the execution, not the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody's got a great idea, right? I pitch so many ideas every day, and I go, listen, the crazy thing is I've seen the worst plan with incredible execution, and somehow it still works. So if you got a good plan and really good execution, you can't, not say you can't fail, but your odds increase exponentially. Guys, understanding wholesaling always comes down to execution. Now, if you have a really crappy list, execution ain't going to help you, but you'd be surprised you could still pull a deal even out of a crappy list if you were diligent in your execution. So many of you guys set so many big plans, and then you don't hold yourself accountable. And honestly, it's probably the number one reason people fail in wholesaling. So my warning to you, Tristan, is take everything you just told me and make sure it's spelled out, and break it down to a daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly plan.
I have. Yeah.
And then hold yourself accountable. There's no coach. Zach and Rick aren't going to hold you accountable. At the end of the day, hold you accountable because you're responsible. And understanding this is going to be a learning process. You're only 21. You seem very mature to me. And just keep plugging through it.
Yeah.
So
I've
if
got
you
it
write
down
it down and you don't do it,
right.
If you're running out of time or you don't have the tools to it, then you've got to have an honest evaluation after like week 1 to go, okay, I grossly, and I've done this, guys. I did such an aggressive SMS text campaign. Zach's like, are you crazy? I'm like, and Zach's like, dude, like, you're killing us. And I had to we had to adjust over a 2-month period because I overshot it. But I rather overshoot it than undershoot it. And then take a day, take a week, and then sit back and go, okay, can I sustain this for this quarter and that? And that's how you kind of make sure your plan is going to stick. But it's always the execution.
Yeah.
Very rarely the plan. Although a good plan really makes the execution go a lot better. So
yeah, I've been working it since Wednesday, and I got it down to the hour. Like I thought about for a while, and it's been going good. So I'll stay updated. I haven't topped out in a while, but I've been watching every single one.
I know.
So
I saw you hop on, so I want to get you. So
But
okay,
you,
bud.
Appreciate
Keep us updated, man. I'll see you. Jason, you there? Jason. I'll come back to Jason.
Yo!
Devin, what's going on, man?
What's up, Rick?
Dude, this guy's energy is crazy, man. I like it because it gets like this stuff can get kind of boring to a point. Like we got to entertain each other a little bit. So when you guys entertain me, it actually helps me out. So it's like, wake up.
Good.
Because like, guys, I know this stuff, but honestly, like the best way is I hate talking about theory. It reminds me of school. So like when we talk about deals and guys, hop on this live, even if you haven't done a deal, because there's always two big obstacles. Number one, usually your head. That's what got you in this position. You got to get out of that. And number two, you have to figure a way to take massive amount of action. So what's going on, Devin? What can I help you out with?
What is up, Rick? So I actually, you remember that deal? I don't know if you remember the deal that I was talking to you about. I think it was maybe like a month ago with the land. We're closing today. So I found a buyer off of Facebook. So that was pretty clutch.
So what are you going to make on that deal?
$8,000.
And how long you been doing this now?
This is I'm starting my second year.
Yeah. So
This is
guys,
dope.
listen, first of all, kudos to you. That's
Thank you.
amazing. You took action with it. Treat wholesaling like a marathon and not a sprint. Now it's okay to take sprinter action, dude. And sometimes like you've got to pace yourself. And I see so many people run so hard out of the gate in the first 90 days and they don't get the result they desire and they quit. Dude, 90 days, I'm telling you, like I'm an older guy, 90 days is nothing, dude. It's a blink in your life. And when you're young, it seems like forever. And I'm just telling Devin, just make sure you take that long approach. And the goal is to get you out of your current situation. And then every time you have a victory and you move forward, you're making progress. The problem with society, everybody wants instant results.
Yeah.
The truth is, the world doesn't work that way. That's why they sell lottery tickets all over the country. Now, I'm not picking on people who do lottery tickets, but like seriously, if you put the effort in the lottery ticket and the wholesaling, you do so much better. And it like what for a chance at like 1 in like a 54 million chance, someone's still got to win it. But why not just go win the lottery every other month doing it in wholesaling?
Thanks.
So, okay, what else? Awesome.
Yeah, I know. So thank you. I'm this past month. I got 4 deals under contract.
How'd you get them under contract? Like, where'd you find them?
So I found the land on accident. The deal that I
That's
got.
okay.
So what now?
That's fine.
Isn't it? I was just calling some random list and
Yeah.
Good.
But it didn't just pop in your email. You still had to take action to get it, right?
Yeah, no, I think I got it off a driving for dollars list, and then I was talking to them, and then I asked them if they had any other properties, and then they brought up that one.
Awesome.
So that was that one. Another one I was I had pulled a prop stream list for vacant properties, and the lady was like, yeah, she gave me the MCTP all the way down, like literally me just asking her if she was interested in selling the property. She went stupid with that one, but there was issue with title, and so found out that it was going to tax auction this Tuesday, and let the seller know, the buyer know about the title being a little clouded, and he said he wanted to back out. So we ended up losing that one, and then I have a burnt down house. I actually just watched the burnt down live that you did the other day.
Yeah.
And I did not lock it up very well, but I figured I was going to try to get like a grand or two out of that one.
Just keep in mind, most fire damage properties wind up being renegotiated in the end because you're sometimes you're taking a bit of a wild guess.
Yeah.
I know you're getting like insurance estimates and stuff like that, but like of all the renegotiations, fire damage is number one. Just to fill you guys in because it's just sometimes you don't know until you know, and then a lot of times it gets down to closing. You're like, you got to do this, you got to get this certified, and that all costs money, and you have to renegotiate. Otherwise, you make no money. So don't be scared to try to renegotiate a fire damage deal because there's a lot of pending things with the city and county and getting permits and all that other crap.
Okay. And I'm glad you mentioned the insurance thing because when you mentioned it in the video, I hadn't even thought about that. She just told me she got some bids from contractors.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd really trust that, but
insurance companies are a little bit more exact.
Yeah.
The contractors are going to be overpriced. And so like between the two, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together. Now,
okay,
an overpriced bid helps your cause out anyway. So
she said it was like the property's like ARV was like maybe like 60 or more like 80, 80. And she said that the the bids were like 20, 25 and the properties were, you can see through the roof. There's only one room in the house. It's a 2-1. There's only one room in the house that isn't like charred, or not charred, but like doesn't have like black scum and smoke all over it. So I don't think it's actually 20 grand to fix all that. I think it's a bit more, but
Okay.
we gotta ask her about the insurance.
I would always overestimate it. So
okay.
So,
and then there's one more. I just found driving for dollars. Another one I found driving for dollars, calling off of a list. And then I went to the house, and then she didn't want to sell the house. And then I drove around the neighborhood, and then I found ugly property, and then I got that one under contract.
Yeah, dude, driving for dollars, guys. So driving for dollars requires you to take your ego and put it in your back pocket because it doesn't feel like a very high skilled task. But dude,
makes money, bro.
Well, think about it. If I get a list of 10,000 and I do it I'm not gonna say the lazy way, but I can afford to do the lazy way. I mail to them, I hire cold callers, everything, and then Devin gets in his car and goes, "Okay, here's 50 suspect properties, all within the area." He cut my list from 10,000 down to 50 that he really wants. And so the 10,000 cost a lot of time and money for me to burn through all those leads. I got to do postage, I got to do mailing, I got to pay people to do acquisitions, the whole deal. And he just finds the 50 most highly targeted. And every time those 50 I want, you just beat me to it. And I'm telling you, that's why people overlook driving for dollars. And guys, please, for God's sakes, do not buy a course on driving for dollars. It is one of the most common sense things you can do in life. But I guess, there's just this huge push for people to sell the crap out of courses to you guys. Guys, do you understand? I'm being honest. I could make millions selling you guys courses. Why don't I do it? Devin, why don't I do that? Why do you think?
Because you're a G. That's why. Because
it's stupid. I tell you
deals.
I tell you guys to play the long game.
Mm-hmm.
Selling simple coaching is just a short take game. Like, let me take. I'm going to play it long. And it's for like the guys, the blueprint's already out there. Let me ask you, when you got your Google account and your Gmail, did you guys pay for it?
Nope.
No, they provide tons of services for you. So what? Like, I do affiliate links. You know what? As long as other people, and by the way, all that stuff just pays for the cost of running this channel. Like, this stuff ain't free. Like, there's significant bills that go along with this. You guys, if I told you how much traffic goes to free wholesaling, you wouldn't even believe me. Like, we got a bill the other day for a server. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm okay with it. And that's why we do affiliate links. But I do believe in the products that I do because, number one, I don't own them. Number two, I use the crap out of them. And number three, I'm only going to do the stuff that I've used in my business for multiple years. I have so many people pitching me right now. I'm like, if it works in my business, I'll think about it.
Right.
And so we're testing out 2 or 3 things now. And I'm spending my hard-earned money trying to figure it out. So it's like I test everything out. So I play the long game. You know what the number one question every guru asks me, and I'm friends with a lot of them. They're good people, but we're kind of like lawyers, like you ever see lawyers that like they're best friends outside the courtroom. They get in the courtroom and then they like eat each other's, like they punch each other in the face with like comments. We do the same thing, guys. Like, they're not bad people. I'm good friends with a lot of them. I just have a different method. I don't care. I don't let anybody influence my decision. I'm my own man. I'm my own person. I am not going to join the coaching posse, which I've been pitched and millions of dollars. Guys, why would I give up $2 or $3 million? Why? Because at the end of the game, me and Zach are going to be the ones left standing. And then we're going to partner up. And then I'm going to be able to do a deal anywhere I want to do in the country, anytime I want. I just push a button and it's done. Right. And that's the long game. So you can sit there and keep stripping people of their money and you'll fade away. They all fade away. I can give you 100 coaches that faded away in the last 10 years. Now the market's changed. They're changing again. I'm not going anywhere. So 2014, I decided this industry's crazy. I'm out of it. I don't want to be a coaching guru. I think it's terrible. And every coach I've ever dealt with over my 20-year career, there's one common denominator. They all burn out because it's extremely taxing to give up all your time and to cater to people on like coaching. So some of them set their prices high. They do that. But like, what's your time worth when it comes to in the end? So guys, here's why I'm playing the long game. I want as much market share as possible to tell people, listen, get started in wholesaling. You're going to have to work your butt off. It's not easy, but if you go along with the journey and you do the work, you can be very successful. And then if you want to do like coaching, you got money, knock yourself out. But the biggest mistake is most coaching dollars. And by the way, I've been to all the seminars. I clue in all of them. They all tell them when people are first interested in wholesaling, that's when you take their money. You guys know that? You are a target. So if you're brand new watching this, you want to know why all these ads are popping up, because they know you're going to pay. And by the way, 95% of them will fail. So they know they're going to take your money. They're going to take advantage of you. And I personally think it's wrong. Am I right? Time will tell, right?
Yeah.
We'll see who's at the end. I don't need to be king. I don't care. You guys have a choice. So you have a choice. Number one, vote with your pocketbook. Stop paying these ridiculous fees to learn wholesaling. Because in the end, why wouldn't they just show you your course ahead of time or let you use it for 30 days? And then if you decide it was really good, you could pay them. I thought about doing that, but I go, let's just make the whole damn thing free. Number two, stop tuning in on people that are constantly going to pound you over the head with some sort of course. And guys, when you go to your physical, like your meetups or whatever, and by the way, I love to meet up with people. You are nothing. You're going to a pep rally and they're all concluding on how to get your money before you get out of there. And when they're gone, they're gone. You'll never see them again. I'm going to tell you about this fancy program. So me and Zach are trying to find a way to get you all in a room without charging you. And it's not as easy as it sounds, because these events. So like, I don't give up my time easily, and I respect you guys. And you know what? I don't want you guys paying plane tickets, hotel rooms. I'd rather you get direct course action, go out and do your business and spend the remainder of your time with your family. That's how you're going to do your best. And if you, so I see people that go like, here's what happens. They go to seminars for like 2 years. And then they're like, okay, now I got to figure out this business. Rick, you show me how to do it. And that's how I came up with this idea. So that was my rant on it, man. So
no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
No, it's got like, everyone's like, what's your end game? I go, I don't have an end game. My end game is to be here, be the only person that stays in the wholesaling business 50 years plus. Now, I'm 53, guys. Zach's brutally young. He's going to take the crown, and Zach will have kids, and hopefully I can flourish it in the business within the family, which is, it's a lot of fun, dude. Like what I do with like my son, like I have to pinch myself sometimes, guys. It's amazing. And honestly, I made a decision because, to be brutally honest and transparent, my father spent no time with me as a young like person. And when my parents split up, I had no direction, and I fumbled till I was 33. From 18 to 33, I was clueless. And I said, I got to make a change. I can't stand this anymore. I learned to make a crap load of money in wholesaling, and then I took 10 years to learn how to keep it.
Yeah.
And my goal is to prevent anyone have to go through all the bullshit I did. Sorry, YouTube. I apologize.
Being real, man. You're being real. I understand.
But it's truth, man.
Yeah,
so like,
sure.
honestly, I don't have a hidden agenda. Everyone goes, I know you're going to drop a course. Play this back, record it at this point. I'm not doing it. I'm making it free. Now, I do have an opportunity where people can JV with me, and I've done a crap load of deals. But I keep my ego in check because like I'm always helping. And some of them are really challenging. Some of them are easy. And like we are working on a process with that right now. Everybody else wants to charge you. Hey, you got to pay 5 or 10,000. Go to my course. Then I'll talk to you about a deal. Me and Zach are the only ones that don't do that. So what else, Devin? What else, man? It sounds like you got a plan and you're moving along here.
Heck yeah. And then that's actually what I wanted to ask you a bit more about the plan. So when I first started, when I would get a deal, I would only focus on that deal in escrow with a title company, and I wouldn't cold call. I wouldn't do any other acquisition. What number of deals would you say like I have, or I guess 3 now, since the other one went out, but I'm about to close this one today. So last week I had 4 deals that I was working on. And this past week I was really trying to find, like, go through the county and find stuff for a title to see if we could get things done. But it didn't end up working. So I put all that effort into that and it not working out. But is there like a certain number of active deals that you can have to not be focusing on acquisition, or should you always be, deal acquisition? Like,
so that's the challenge. So this is the merry-go-round. So I was a single operator for 7 years.
Yeah.
Dude,
okay. Cool.
I've lived this. Okay. And still to this day, like I just went through tax preparation. The amount of tax returns, it's good, but it's my tax bills.
But
It's like it's bad, dude. But like you'll learn part of keeping your money is you have to do accurate bookkeeping. You got to have good accountants. And like I let that all get behind. And so
do you use
now
QuickBooks?
I don't
Or
touch
did
any
you?
of it. I hire like I
No.
have an entire staff. Like it's a lot of work.
I
So
believe, man.
what I'm saying to you is your job, you always have to focus. Your job is to locate motivated sellers and
Okay.
put deals together. And if you understand that's your primary task, which is always going to be marketing and meeting with sellers, the other stuff, like you can't let it go through. And I know it, but like you're going to get in this habit where like I have to make sure these deals go through. And some deals require a lot of attention. I get it. But as you grow and prosper, you want to find people in your title company, or you can find people's like VAs. VAs aren't, I'm not the giant fan of VAs. I like VAs for marketing and like scraping lists, but they're not very good like follow-up stuff. If you get to that point and you're starting to make some money, then you can get someone to help you, like I call it a pro bono transaction coordinator. I mean, they get they get a spiff for every deal they help walk you through it. The problem is you got to find someone that either an ex-realtor or an ex-title person that will help you walk your deals through. But here's the problem. Like you have 4 or 5 and then you'll have none for like a month or two. It's just the reality of the business.
Right.
So if you're paying them a salary, you're going to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
So go, listen, here's the deal. I'm building my business. I'm going through waves. If I can focus more time on the front end and you get a spiff for each one of them, and then you bring me like the most high level problems, we can keep this factory going a lot faster. So think of your business as like an assembly line. You have to keep loading product on the front to get it to the back. And sometimes the machine jams up in the back and you have to run. So I know you're too young for this, but you remember, you ever heard of the show I Love Lucy?
No.
Okay, so look it up. It's an old 50s. Like this is even before my time. But there's a famous scene on there where she's at a chocolate factory and she's all cute. She's putting them in. All of a sudden they turn the machine up and she's trying to keep up. And then she decides to go to the back of the line and they're all piling up and it's making a mess. And then she forgets the front of the line. And that's how it feels to be a wholesaler.
Okay.
And so if you can find someone pro bono to help you do transaction coordinating that actually has like some experience doing it, it's amazing. The problem is when you hire a transaction coordinator, when you have unpredictable income, they're going to leave you because once you stop paying them, they're done.
Yeah.
So if you paid them like, listen, I'll give you $500 a file, help me get it all the way through. And then some of the lighter files, like if you're only making 1,000, 2,000, I'm probably not going to give them that file. Like it's just, or go, listen, I can only afford like 150. The problem is setting a percentage. They're all over the board in the beginning. So if you can find that person now, full disclosure, my wife was my person to do that. But that created other problems for me. And I'm not going to lie to you. It was hard working with my wife because she didn't understand wholesaling, but she understood real estate. And we had some confrontations on it. And sometimes, guys, I'm here to tell you, sometimes working with your spouse is not the best thing because then like you feel like you got to deal with the regular problems and then you got to deal with the work problems. It's like, well, I want to take a break from this. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And I eventually pulled my wife out of the wholesaling business because she wanted to be a high-end realtor. And I let her do what her passion was. And we've been happy as a pea since. When I forced her in a job that she didn't like, it was really good for 6 months. And then she told me, I just hate what I'm doing. And like the person I love the most, I'm sitting there making her do the stuff she hates the most. So be careful what you wish for, especially when you use family. So try to find that person that will help you out and take care of them. But understanding it is a part-time gig. Don't promise them full-time work. And then if you give me a year to build my business up, you're the first person I'm going to hire full-time to do this. And that's how I would do it. Okay.
Now I'm about to graduate college this semester and I'm about to move into wholesaling.
What are you getting your degree in?
Aviation management.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm getting some business aspects of it.
You guys understand I'm not completely anti-college. Like
I 100% am.
But here's the deal is like, here's how I look at college. Don't go in over your head on debt because you're not going to get an ROI on it. So if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have that constant struggle. So when it came to my son, and keep in mind, I come from a family of educators, high-end educators, like doctorates, masters. I told him, I go, just get through it as fast as possible and treat it like grade school. And he did. He did it in a year and a half. And he had the whole thing paid for it. Not only did he get it paid for, he applied to so many grants, he had to walk away with money. And he was complaining to me about all the 1099s he's getting, because I learned how grants and like uh, uh, scholarships go. They just put the money in your account and tell you to pay for everything. It's a beautiful thing.
It's pretty nice.
And like, so, but you got to actually go out there and do it. So, oh, Zach got a college degree. I'm like, actually, Zach's smart. Like, I took 6 years. He took a year and a half. So he's got more of his mother's genes in him than mine. And like, but I'm an old school like business guy. I love just working on deals type of deal. But like, guys, if you got to do it to make your parents, just don't go into debt. That's my only rule. It will hamper you and it will kill you, because if you get one of these I don't know, these federal loans, like the only way out of it's death. And they're going to forgive the loans. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't be so sure about that, but it's like $1.6 trillion. There's a reason they give the loans, because it's all a big Ponzi scheme, in my opinion. So, but good for you. Like, if you're going to go to college, just get through it, get your parents happy, and get out, and understand you are a rookie when you get out, and you don't have a lot of skill sets when you get out of college. And did you know the predominant job when people get out of college is becoming a salesperson, period. Oh, I'm a financial advisor. Go, you're a professional salesperson. Oh, I'm a broker. You're a professional salesperson. Like, do you need to keep doing this? The only way to truly make money in society, you have to be on the front end of revenue, period. End of story. So aviation, that's cool though.
It's neat. Yeah. It's all right.
Was that your passion?
It was, yeah. I wanted to fly.
There's a lot of entrepreneurs that they all get like their pilot. A lot of my friends have their pilot license.
It's so clutch,
but they get ticked off like when they come to town and I won't fly with them. I go, dude, like,
you know what?
Yeah, they tiny. My friend has 2 helicopters. Ooh. And he flies over all the time, like teasing me. I'm like, dude, that helicopter is so small. Like, I'm a big, tall guy. It was like, like he's got open doors. He flies over the ocean all the time. He's always buzzing me when I'm out on the boat. It's just funny. But I'm a little bit of a chicken when it comes to like flying and stuff like that. So I have some friends. And I'm blown away with the cost of these airplanes. It's like, I think it's really cool, but it's, I would never trust myself flying. I just, that's how I am. I wouldn't be a good pilot, man. You really got to be smart, in my opinin. So
I appreciate that. Okay, I have one more question for you.
Yes.
So with this past deal that I had to, I guess, like just cancel, the seller did not want to, or the buyer did not want to go forward because he was concerned about a clouded title. Is there any way like around something like that, or like trying?
So there's a couple ways. So what was the clouding issue? Do you know?
So basically, the property had been aired down for like 40 years, and the original owner, he had passed away, and he'd aired it down to a good friend who had taken care of him before he died, and then she aired it down to her husband because when she passed away, then he gave it to the seller who I was working with before he passed away, and that was the only record of a written deed. And so everything else before was all in affidavits of airships, and it wasn't clear. And
So a couple techniques real quick as a wholesaler. When you get one that's clouded title, number one, always get them at a discount, because it's problematic, and it usually takes legal fees and time. And no cash buyer likes hear the word legal fees or time. So one of the ways is you can set the deal up and you go, listen, I can't sell it to you till we clear the title, but here's what we'll do. You leave a deposit. We'll put it in escrow under the conditions. Once the title's cleared, it gets funded. And then you fund the clear title action with your assignable contract. Now they have to work with the title company and a lawyer to do that. And they want a discount to do that. But if it hits, you're fine. If it doesn't hit, you don't lose any money.
Right.
And they take on the inherent risk. The second way you can do it is when you're dealing with that seller. What was your promise to that seller? How much did they want to sell it to you for?
She wanted to sell it for $1,500. She was ready to be done with it.
$1,500.
Yeah, $1,500. And then
what's wrong with the property?
Huh?
What's wrong with the property?
Oh man, it hadn't been lived in probably over a decade, probably a decade or two. There was doors were wide open.
Okay, so uninhabitable and needs like a full rehab. So every now and then you'll come across a property with the opposite problem, a dirty title, but like you could technically live in it. It's okay. It might need $3,000 to $5,000 of quick fix up. I love those deals, dude. Those deals, just put in your back pocket.
Really?
Yeah.
Even
So
without a title?
I own like 6 of them right now. So
Okay.
here's the deal: is all you are is paying the cash flow game.
That's it. Yeah.
Remember, we as wholesalers operate in different rules. I'm not a traditional banker. I'm like, so I go, listen, your title's so screwed up, I can't even buy it. And honestly, I got to work with lawyers, and this could take 3 to 5 years for me to clear up. But if it's in a position where you could generate cash, rental, whatever, is take it over, give her $1,000 or whatever, and take it over and just rent it out. And then what I do is I let the cash flow fund whatever activity I want to do with the property. If I have to hire a lawyer and work on a clear title, so like most clear titles, so now you get an adverse possession, all this stuff.
Mhm.
So each state's a little bit different, but like my lawyer goes, listen, you got to own that property 3 years. You got to pay the property tax. You got to run the utilities, and you got to maintain the property. And then after 3 years,
You should
and
have
then I showed him all the casework and stuff like that. He goes, listen, it cost you around $7,000 to do this. Give me 3 years of all those bills. And he goes, around $7,000. I can't promise it, but I think it's got a good shot. And then what I do is I just keep building up a cash pile and let the property pay for itself. And then I give it to the lawyer when he's ready, and we take a shot at it. And guess what? If it fails, I just keep renting it out. I don't care. I got a property I've rented out 10 years. I've never had control of the title. I don't even own it in public record. Guy goes, I just don't want the property anymore. The bank has a ridiculous judgment lien on it, and I can't make it work. Dude, the house is gorgeous. You would live in it with your eyes shut. And here's why I go to rent. I go, listen, they normally rent for about $2,500. I'm going to give you to for $1,200, but understand it is a month-to-month agreement, and the property is in a legal position, and it's being foreclosed on. So you're going to get served papers all the time. Just understanding it's part of the process. With the cost of living and stuff, people will take that stuff all day long. Now, you got to be careful, because people can call that equity skimming, and I'm not a big fan of that. But honestly, long as you're in a state where the seller's in control till the property's foreclosed on, you have the legal right to do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
The bank, you got to understand, the bank is nothing more than a lien position. They don't, but you understand, guys, banks constantly preach to you guys, well, we control and own the asset. No, you loan them money for it. That is it.
Yeah.
So now it depends on what state you're in, and I'm not here to give you legal advice, but you have a clouded title. If you can fund it for little to no money, it's ready to go. Knock yourself out. You can make 10 to 12 grand a year and not even own the property. How do you care how you get your money?
He would have had it. That's the thing. It was even better than that, because he would have still been able to have the property under his name. Like there would have been a deed with his name on it. But he was concerned about like somebody coming back and saying, "Oh, I own this property." But we looked at
that is a risk on when you go the quiet title. Basically, you open up a list pendants on the property, and you have to announce to the world for 90 days on average. Some states a little bit longer. And if anybody makes a claim, they have to file in the court and do that. Now, here's the hint. I only do quiet titles when I know I'm going to win. I don't want to waste lawyers' fees. If you got 10 people coming out of the woodwork, don't even try to apply for a quiet title. Just rent it out until the cash flow squeezes out.
Wait, you said a quiet title?
It's called quiet title. So when the title's undetermined, you basically open up a court case with a lawyer, and you announce to the world, we have to clear the title. Whoever has claim has to come out, and they have to publicize it in all these, I don't know, these magazines and the newspaper and online. And then people have 90, and if nobody answers, you win by default. Here's the key is make sure no one's going to answer, because then you're going to get in a long drawn out court case, and it's going to be expensive. So I do my research before I do a quiet title. I sit on the property years to see if there's anything that's going to come out. And then I make an educated decision, because I have the renters pay for it, and I take a shot with it. And I give it to a professional lawyer who knows what they're doing, who specializes in quiet title. That's it. Guys, there's a lot of properties out there where like the deeds are all screwed up, or people did quick claims. Quick claims are a huge red flag on properties. And the title company goes, man, we got a mess here. You're going to have to work this out with a lawyer. And so what's the seller going to do? They can't sell it. It's still a property. It's just a title issue. That's it, guys. And so you can attack it one or two ways. Now, on your example where the property needs full rehab, those are a little challenging. And I would take the first approach, which I told you, like have a contract, have him put the money in escrow, have him fund it. And if it works out, great. And he doesn't have to pay you if it doesn't work out, but he does take the risk on the legal fees.
Okay, Man, I wish I should have called. I should have been on the phone with you like on Tuesday.
No, I know, but that's it, guys. Quite like honestly, during the whole short sale era, I bypassed. Ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Over 200 properties under this, and I was told it's illegal. It's equity skimming. You can't do it.
Right.
And then I sat down and got educated. I'm like, the bank doesn't own the properties in my state, so you got to understand it. I'm not here to give like legal advice, but
Hey.
I found people to this date have still walked away from their properties, and the banks were so clueless they got lost in the paperwork. I find properties all the time where they went in foreclosure and the banks got stopped and they didn't know how to move forward, and the property and the homeowner just left. They go, well, I can't sell it. I'm like, hey, you mind if I rent it out for you? And here's what I do. I either give the homeowner a upfront payment or I partner up with them. And we strictly go, listen, we're just going to give you a management agreement. That's it.
Oh, so it's like almost like arbitrage, like rent arbitrage.
Yeah, that's it. So I go, why not win and make it a win-win for everybody? It's like, banks are they try to scare the crap out of you. So don't worry about that. So, okay, bud, let me help some other people out here, man. You're on the right path, man. You got it.
Appreciate you, Rick.
Okay, man. See ya. Vince, what's up?
What's up, man? Rick, how you doing?
I didn't want to leave you hanging, man. I'm trying here.
I was waiting, but hey, I was like, people gotta get their time in too. You know?
No, I know. I go on rants, dude. I got ADHD. What can I tell you, man?
It's all good.
What's going on, man?
So I remember last time we spoke, you gave me advice with that fire damage property. So we went on the appointment. Fortunately, I didn't get the contract on the agreement in that moment.
Okay.
So now I'm playing chase the pretty girl around the world now.
Isn't that fun? That's so fun. Guys, that's all we do all day in our company. It's like, who wants to ghost me? And like, I just, you have to just, here's how I look on follow-ups. Keep tightening the noose every time when you get in contact with them. Mm-hmm. The idea is to move the lead along and try to make process. I go, listen, I just got to talk to my uncle one more time. When are you going to talk to your uncle? By next Friday. Okay, so it's safe to say you can make a decision by next Friday. Mm-hmm. And then I try to set an appointment. They don't always stick, but I'm telling you, constantly try to move the needle on your follow-up, because if you keep asking the same question, you're going to get the exact same answer. The quality of your question is going to dictate the outcome of your follow-up on your wholesale business.
Okay. Yeah, so so now it's he's waiting for another payout from the insurance company. He said it's going to take at least 2 weeks. I told him, hey, we can put you on the contract and just extend the deadline, if you're really serious about selling this property. He hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I just told him that yesterday. We just texted yesterday.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what else excuse are you going to have? Like, are you trying
to? Well, that's it.
Yeah.
So here's what you want to do is just, I give everybody one free lie because they're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And then if they keep lying going forward and it's not the truth, you have to call them to the plate. Guys, the whole goal of wholesaling and any business is you got to get to the truth as soon as later and help the seller get out of their own way. Mm-hmm. I go, listen, you told me that last week. You said you're waiting on your sister. Now you said you're waiting on your brother. What's your brother's name? Mm-hmm. And you got to start going into deep in questions. And here I say, listen, all I want to do is help you out. Like, honestly, if you don't want to sell it to me, just raise your hand. I'll leave you alone. And so when I do those reaction kind of like responses, I'm looking to see if he goes, no, I really want to sell you the property. I'm trying to go through a process. And I go, listen, how can I help you? Can I answer any more questions, or what is it? And here's the other one to do. I go, is there something I'm doing like to make you uncomfortable, or did I miss something? Because if I'm not moving the needle, at some point you have to have a hard conversation with the seller. Because if not, you're going to work for free forever. Exactly. I'm okay and every now and then you'll push people and they go, Rick, I'm just not going to sell it. I was using you to get a contract to bait up the price. Thank you. Have a nice day. And I move on. Like, people just don't like to say no. And I actually respect people that tell me no 100%. Because there's a definitive outcome. The maybes will drive you nuts in wholesaling. So to avoid the maybes, make sure you're always moving the needle on your follow-up. One free lie, and keep holding them accountable to the point where they get backed in a corner and they go, I don't want to sell it to you, or I'm scared, or I'm just flat out lying to you. And it is like such a revelation moment when you get it. Because I've had people string me along for a year. Wow. Don't let them use you. Keep pushing, because if not, you're going to work for free and you're going to burn out.
Okay.
There's just comes a point where a lead has to move forward. And if the story doesn't rhyme to the evidence you have, you've got to move forward with your life. So just kind of keep doing with it. But like, honestly, when you get them backed in that corner and like their story's not adding them up, go, am I missing something? Like, I, do,
The
do,
only- the
do
only
I
thing-
upset you or say something shocking to them to see if you can get a response from them?
Yeah, that's the only thing that's like making me more sure of this situation when he says like, hey, you're gonna be dealing with a potential client. He says like, hey, just please sit tight. I'm gonna get right back with you waiting on this. Like he keeps saying, please sit tight. Like I'm not doing this. I'm not shopping the deal. So it's if he's lying to me, he must be lying to himself if he's lying. You know what I'm saying? So um, that's the only thing. Maybe he
I
doesn't.
know, but like you got to be a human lie detector. And like,
Yeah.
I will tell you, if anybody wants to go to college, the most valuable degree you can get for wholesaling is psychology. I
Mhm.
swear on this. You've got to get inside people's heads and kind of think like what they're thinking. And you have to push because people lie to us all the time. They lie to realtors too. They lie to everybody.
Yeah.
And part of you is like, listen, I want to help you out, but if you're not going to tell me the truth, I can't play this game. So I don't play games when people like lie to me. I go, listen, don't do that again. Otherwise we're going to have a problem. And if they constantly do it, unfortunately, we're most stuck with our family with these issues is you have to rectify the behavior. You got to move on. And that's,
Okay.
I'm just telling you, just don't let them drive you nuts and keep moving forward.
Okay. And then I have a deal in the contract. This is the funny part of dealing with buyers now.
Yeah.
No one wants to pay. So every question is, what's your minimum price you can get for this? Or they ask me, what's the contract price? Or they ask me,
Just tell them what your offer is. That's it.
yeah, well,
And listen, if they want to counter it, they have the right to counter it. But like, honestly, the first person that gives me this price, it's done. And you can't, unfortunately, you have to play poker in this game. And because if you constantly bend down and negotiate, they're going to always negotiate with you. So, I always have somebody who's interested in the property, and there's a gentleman or a lady meeting me later tonight.
mm,
Is it a lie? It's a stretch sometimes,
Understood.
but I will tell you, FOMO makes cash buyers do things they normally wouldn't do. Now, they got to be okay with the numbers and stuff with that. But the problem is if you constantly bend on price. Now, this only works when you have good deals. If you have bad deals and they know the numbers don't work, then they're like, hey, I can't do that. And so you have to create value as a wholesaler
Mm.
and say, listen, you don't have to go on MLS. I'm going to give you a one and done deal, but like, here's the offer price. Now, if you don't have any other offers, you can work with them. But and
No.
these markets, they kind of come and go. But like, if you negotiate with everyone, they're going to be known as the guy who always folds. I used to be that guy. And I'm just telling you, the minute you're confident, go, hey, here's the price. Listen, I got other people I got to talk to. Let me know if it works out. By the way, you can always call them back, Vince, and renegotiate. Go, listen, I kind of thought about it, and I can work with you. If you can do this price and close by then, I can meet with you and get your deal done. And if not, you just move on. I will tell you, once you have a difficult seller, it doesn't matter how cheap you buy the property. They will beat the crap out of you no matter what. And you got to get rid of those people out of your life as soon as possible.
Mm.
I had a deal recently. It was 80 grand below, like, and it needed nothing. And the guys did the same thing. Well, what's your contract for? I'm like, dude, I remember because I got involved because I knew the buyer because he bought some other properties and he only wanted to talk to me. I go, fine, I'll talk to him. And I'm like, I just kept hanging up on him because I think we're having a disconnection problem. I go, I don't understand what you're offering. Like, I'm offering you like a deal of a lifetime in a market where nothing is, and this is ridiculous. And
Yeah.
I moved on. I sold it to another guy and I got like 5 grand more than we thought we are going to get. But like, you have to stand up for yourself because like, if you're looking for a realtor, I'm not a realtor.
Yeah.
And what happens is that person, the next time your property comes around, he's going to like, okay, I can't play with Vince. Like Vince comes real close to the price they offer. And that's how I treat it. And the person that wants to know what you have it under contract for, run to the hills. They're so cheap. It's ridiculous. You cannot buy properties based on what your contract is.
And
If
that's
the property's worth 200 and you're buying it for $140, $150 and needs light
I got
rehab.
it cheaper than that.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just telling you, it's
My-
like when they ask you what you bought it for, I immediately discount them. Like, just go, hey, listen, I'm probably not the guy for you. I think you need a realtor. And that's what I say.
Yeah, that's what he asked me. I said, so what what's going to predicate the number that me and the seller agreed on? What is that going to have to do anything with what you
It
make?
doesn't. And I've always told you guys, once they do that, move on. They're
Yeah.
literally a waste of your time because they will beat you up all the way to the end. You could get a $300,000 discount if so. Like, say you bought a property for 50,000 and it's worth like 300.
Uh-huh.
What the hell's my contract price have to do what you're going to buy it for? Like, that's none of your business. And the reality is like, well, I'm going to see it when they do the assignment. I go, listen, I'm offering you for 200. Either take it or leave it. If it doesn't work for you, I'm fine with it. I got plenty of other buyers. And that's how I do it every time, even when I don't have buyers.
Okay.
Guys, you work too hard for your deals. Don't give them away. Now,
Yeah.
if they're constantly telling you the numbers don't work, then you got to take the intel back and you either got to get out of the contract or renegotiate it.
Well,
But
my thing is if it didn't work, they would say that from the gate.
yeah,
So,
they'll go like this.
saying?
You're crazy. But when they try that whenever they say the trigger, what's your contract price? You need a realtor. Would you want me to refer you to a realtor? Because the realtor is not going to tell you the contract price.
Mhm.
So how they work with realtors, they look what you bought it for. Let me figure out the value. Like in wholesaling, it doesn't work because no matter what, they're going to try to beat you up, even on a really smoking deal. That's the one thing that's never ever changed in this business, and it's more true today than ever.
Okay, so it's just part of the game.
No, just hold it, dude. But like, and here's how you respond to them. I go, do you want me to get in touch with a realtor for you? Because I don't understand the relevance of that. So go, listen, well, then you can play a game with it. You could play games all day long like that. Okay. I have it on contract for 150. Like, we could do this all day long. I don't want to play the games though, because we have to move fast because we're under contract and we need speed. And I don't have time for the game. So proof up your buyers, vet them, and when they start playing games, refer them to a realtor and move on with your life.
Appreciate it, Rick.
And sometimes you got to recircle when you have no action. You got to go, hey man, I know I kicked you to the curb, but like, I think I can do this. Like, what's your bottom? Like, what's the best you can do? Because they're asking, what's the least you can do?
Right.
You counter them, go, what's the best you can do?
Right.
And
And
let's see if we can make it work.
And that's why I know it's a deal, because if you ask me what the least I could do, come on now. It's like, come on, you know the numbers make sense.
Yeah. Hey, the number's right there. It's right there. Like, that's it. So if you don't like it, you can always make me an offer, but I'm just telling you, I'm not going to be happy with it.
One of the buyers was like, "Oh, well, I'm trying to buy 10 houses. There's no way I could buy this house." And he said, "I'll call you back when I'm a millionaire." I'm like,
yeah.
Man,
don't worry about it.
You
got it, dude. You got to know your value as a wholesaler, and if you constantly cave, they're going to beat you up. And honestly, my first couple of years, I let people strong arm me because I wasn't overly confident. I was really good at talking to sellers, and it's a skill I built up over time. That's why I tell you guys it's a 2-year journey. So,
and then last thing I wanted to say, man, I don't know who your dad was, but did a great job, man.
I'm going to stop you there.
But
I'm gonna,
whoever.
Now listen, I love my dad, but I'm always going to tell you guys the truth. The reason I'm on this journey is because I took the wrong path. So from 18 to 33, I tried the college thing, the corporate thing. It was a disaster. I won't even hide it from you. I did so many jobs. Dude, I sold everything. I worked in all different I worked in a rental car company, like cleaning cars, and I was at Enterprise, like rent a car for 12 years of my life. It's like a dead end job. Like I wasn't going anywhere. And they tried to sell me the management culture dream. So Vince, I always tell you the truth. I love my dad. He's still alive to this day, but I got really bad advice as a kid. And that's the problem with America. Like I still love them, but so my parents split up when I was young, and I didn't see my dad when I was a teenager. And the only thing that kind of helped me out was sports, because I had a lot of camaraderie and I enjoyed competing. And so my wrestling and mostly wrestling helped me become a man. Like I don't know how else to tell you. And then I understand it's okay when you get your butt kicked and be physically challenged. And I took that same mentality. I'm like, how can I apply it to wholesaling? Because I tried to apply it to the corporate world, and I learned that there's a lot of kiss up. And like, I don't believe in the corporate culture. They will replace you in a drop of a dime, like end of story. So you got to find a way to make yourself irreplaceable. So I love my dad, but I'm going to tell you, there's a reason why it took me till 33 to get where I am. I should have been doing that crap when I was 18, 19. I had no guidance. So that's why Zach, now, a lot of people go, hey, Zach got his, you got him. No, I'm telling you, I was brutal on Zach. I love my kids to death. The one thing I've learned in life, I watch parents give their kids everything, And those are the kids that live at home forever.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, listen, get good grades, get through school as fast as possible. But I never gave Zach a car.
Mm-hmm.
I never paid for his college education. I always gave him a home over his head. And most of all, I gave him all the love I could. And that's all you can do as a parent. But like I told my wife, our job is to have our children fire us by the time they're 20, 21. That's it. And then I learned through my father and the mistakes, a child from really 15 to 26 is their most vulnerable time. That's where I got my butt kicked. And so I am here for Zach and I guide him. And yes, Zach has a lot of wisdom and stuff behind him, but dude, the kid takes incredible, massive action and he's willing to sacrifice now to gain what he wants in the future. So you guys weren't there when Zach was 15, 16, trying to figure out this business. He had a great attitude. He just didn't know what he was doing. And I just like tons and tons of action. So I just said, listen, like guys, we all learn from our parents. My dad wasn't there for me. I love him. I help take care of my dad. He's old and I'm not going to have any regrets, but my dad taught me a lesson. It's like, I'm bearing my time with my kids. Right. I tell you, when you have kids, dude, like Zach was this little tiny baby. I remember the day he was born. And now like he's a full grown man making decisions. He's making more money than I ever dreamed of in my 20s. And I'm happy for him. He's his own man. And I tell Zach, anytime you want to leave me, you want to leave the old man, he's like, he goes, I enjoy working with you, Dad. It's a lot of fun. So, and we enjoy it. So I want you guys to understand if you come from a challenged past and it's in the past, it's done. Like, let it go, make your amends with it and move on and work on the new and better you and focus on it and become the man or the woman that God meant you to be. And wholesaling is freaking amazing. So I love everybody that watches this channel. I just want you to understand, you got to keep it real and understand. I always tell you when I'm going to give someone credit and I won't. So my father did teach me a lot of valuable lessons. I just think there would have been better ways to do it. And that's it. So all we can do is the journey going forward. Guys, stop thinking the school system's going to raise your kids and make them educated and like make them financially free. It's not. Right. It's you. Your kids watch what you do 10 times over what you say. And my son and my daughter has made me become much better of a man, a father, and definitely an incredible wholesaler. And that's all I want for you guys. So I'm going to wrap it up with that, Vince. I appreciate you, man.
Great. Appreciate you, man.
Okay. So guys, listen up. If make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. Check it out. 100% free course. You've got to take the action. Guys, if you got value from this live stream, make sure you smash that like button. And as usual, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. It makes a tremendous difference on people finding the channel. We can help more people out just like you. And I want to bring and build this community as big as I can. Also, check me out on my YouTube channel, rickginn.com, not rickginn.com. Just go to Rick Ginn, search on YouTube, and I do some fatherly advice. I talk about like some stuff outside of real estate and some finances, but mostly wholesaling because you guys know I love it. And also check out my son on Zach Ginn on YouTube, guys. I really appreciate you. I love everybody on this channel. Keep tuning in. And guys, go out there and take that action and make a difference for yourself and your family.